Shalom, everyone. I am just wanting to make a follow-up video to my testimony video about overcoming homosexuality. And, it was really hard to condense that video because there was so much more to share. But, when you're just recording in front of a camera and you don't really know what you should and shouldn't share for time's sake. So after I watched back the video, I realized that there is more I would like to share because I just felt like, I just glossed over everything. I mean, I was very happy to share the most important part of my testimony, which is that Jesus Christ delivered me and set me free from homosexuality. I didn't just have to, resist and live with homosexual thoughts, but Jesus literally set me free completely, and I am free today. And I just want to go a little bit deeper into my story. So I want to take it back, as I said, when I was a child. If you haven't watched my testimony, feel free to go on over there and give it a watch, and then this video will probably just give more depth to that video. So when I was a little child, it's the first time I started having homosexual thoughts. I was 4 years old, and I remember thinking I'm definitely gonna have a girlfriend one day. What I know now, after being with the Lord, it's 2021. I gave my life to Jesus in 2008. So I've been walking with the Lord for 13 years, and I have been free from homosexuality for 11 years. Praise his holy name. So it's been 11 years of complete freedom from that. But I've been living for Jesus for the whole 13 years. So for the 2 years before I was delivered of that spirit, I was not engaging in homosexual lifestyle. I was seeking God, and I was trying my best to just walk according to his ways. And I was overcoming and, relearning things. And I was just being I guess God was just renewing me. And so anyway, when I was 4, like I said, that's when I first had an impure thought in regards to homosexuality, that I wanted to have a girlfriend when I got older. And now that I've been with the Lord for 13 years and I've been free from this for so many years, I can say, thanks to the Holy Spirit showing me that the reason, I'm going to try my best to explain this. The reason why, okay, so some people think that all homosexuals 100% of the time were molested as children. And that is not true. I was not molested by anyone ever. So I can say that that is not a 100% accurate statement. It's just not. I was not molested. I was not sexually abused as a child. And I don't even know if I could say those words on YouTube. I just don't know. If I can't, whoops, I guess I'll have to go back and blur them out. I don't know. But I wasn't any of those things. So I was, however, as a child, I didn't necessarily fit in. I was kind of like the black sheep. Like I said, I grew up in Southside Minneapolis, which in the neighborhood I grew up in, it was predominantly Native American. My mother is Native American and white, and I lived with my mother and her mother, which my grandma's Native. And so I was raised predominantly Native American, although my father's Puerto Rican, and we would spend time with my daddy on the weekends. And, I would see my abuela, which means grandma in Spanish. So, I would see my tias y tios, aunts and uncles on my Latino side, and that was all fine and well, but my parents weren't married, and I lived with my brothers and my mom and my granny, and um, it was like, I'm the fair one, and I had like, you can't really tell, but my hair is like a flaming red when I was a little girl, and still kind of red now. But I was not fitting in, and I was bullied a lot, and even family. And I'm not saying these things to like say anything negative about my family. My family loved me, and people are people, and people without God, they don't realize sometimes the damage that they're doing. So, I would hear things because I didn't like, because I was like so fair skinned, but in reality, my mom was very light skinned, and she herself had auburn hair. She just dyed her hair black, but I didn't know my mom dyed her hair black. So I know that now. But anyway, when I was a little girl, I just felt like the black sheep, and I had these glasses and this big gap between my front teeth, and my glasses made my eyes really big, and my hair was so like red, and I have like my first name, my abuela, my Puerto Rican granny, she named me after her daughter who passed away at birth, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not going to say my real name, but it is a hard name to pronounce for non-Latinos. Even some Latinos have a hard time pronouncing that. So like at school or the doctor, people would mispronounce my name. My godmother on my Puerto Rican, she's Puerto Rican. She, from the time I was a wee young baby, maybe just a month old, she gave me the name Lily, so that stuck, and everybody was calling me Lily, Lily, like on my Puerto Rican side, and that's what my name is. It's Lily. On my native side, people would just say Lily, and only my black friends at school would say my name right, Lily. And I'm getting to this point that I just felt like, who am I? People don't even know how to say my name. I don't look like what they think I need to look like. I'm fair skinned. I have this gap between my teeth. I have these big, ugly glasses that make my eyes look huge. My hair color is so red. They call me Lily. They pick on me because I'm white. And then family, they don't mean to be hurtful. They don't know that they're being hurtful, but they make jokes like, you were left on the doorstep or you were adopted. And they just say those things because, like, they think they're being funny, but it's not funny. It hurts a child. And so, I just always was like, why do I have to look like this? Why do I have to have these ugly glasses? Why do I have to like endure all this like bullying? And it was tough. Like, we grew up in the hood, and I had to like make sure, a lot of times that I wasn't alone, or that I was like in a group. And once, I kind of lived in that neighborhood for a while, and it took time, like a few months, maybe a year, whatever. But once I lived there, then I was like accepted. But it doesn't mean that, like to newcomers or people who don't know you, then you still don't have to like kind of face that struggle. And even, we lived on the reservation for some time, and being a little girl on the reservation, like, a cousin who's black and native, and I had a cousin who was mentally challenged. And we three would ride the school bus, and the kids on the bus were so mean to us. Like my one cousin who's half black, she could pass for completely black. She's black and Native American, but she could just pass as black. And they used to be mean to her, like you're the only black girl on the bus, and then they'd say to me, you're the only white girl on the bus. Oh, other than the bus driver, he's white too. And then they would be mean to our special needs cousins. So, you know, I'm not trying to tell a sob story. I'm just telling you my story and what that did to me on the inside and how I felt ostracized. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like, who am I? I hated when people call me Lily because I'm like, that's not even my name. Like they can't pronounce my real name, but my name that all my family call me, they can't even say it right. So I just felt like, I don't know. I didn't hate myself, but I felt really ugly. I felt unworthy. I felt unwanted. And I know now that those feelings kind of the enemy, he takes advantage of children, and he knows our weaknesses. And um I thought, since I couldn't be a pretty girl or whatever, that I would be with a pretty girl, and that I would maybe somehow satisfy my lack, or my, I don't even know the word, just satisfy those wounds, I guess. I don't know. I thought, as a young child, like, I'm gonna have a girlfriend and she's gonna be pretty, and if I can't be like all these things, then I will have a girlfriend that will be those things. So for me personally, the enemy did definitely come into my wounds. He came into my wounds and he lied to me, and he gave me a false identity through homosexuality. And um, I just thank God that God came into my life and he saved me. And to be honest, God was never non existent in my life. I could look back now and I see my whole life, even when I didn't know him, I see his hand there reaching out to me. He was always there. And after I first got saved, and um, the Lord just filled me with his love and his acceptance. And um, I just felt like, I always hated that people call me Lily, because I'm like, that's not even my name. Like, they just call me Lily and my name is Lily. But after I got born again, I just felt like God gave me the name of Lily, that I'm his flower, that he gave me that name, and I have learned to accept that name. And I haven't learned to accept that name. As soon as I got born again, I just felt like that was his name for me, that name wasn't a mistake, that it wasn't a false identity. Um, and I loved that, and I don't mind being called that anymore. And after I got born again, I just felt so accepted in God's family, and accepted as a daughter of the King, and that my ethnicity or my skin color didn't matter. And like, I know who I am, and I don't have to prove it. I know who I am. This gap in my teeth don't lie. I know who I am. You know what I mean? Like, I know who my mother is. I know who my father is. I know who my family are. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. And I don't know if I could have ever got that wholeness in my heart if Jesus didn't save me and heal me. Um, I also want to share another portion that I didn't get to share last night. Um, so after I first like went down to North Carolina to kind of stay with E for a while. Because as I said, that was my girlfriend, and we were like in long distance relationship. It started when I was like 16. So we were in a long distance relationship, and I would go down there for little bits and, stay for some time and then come home until eventually I moved down there a couple of years later. But anyway, the point I want to make is this. The first time that I was like down there and staying with her, um, while I was sleeping in the bed with her, she woke me up out of a sleep, and she didn't need to wake me up. Oh my gosh, like I was gonna wake up anyway. I was like having a nightmare, which wasn't really a nightmare, but it in the moment it felt like it. So I was having this intense dream. In the dream, I was in like a cave that opened up to the sea, and then across the sea, like you could see an island with some trees on it. And I was in there with my then girlfriend E, and we had a couple of friends. They were two girls, and they were also in a homosexual relationship. So in the dream, we were all four lesbians in this cave, and we were feeling terrified, trembling in fear, because there was like, I can't remember, but there were like loud like noises. It was almost like, I don't know, like war sounds, but then at the same time, you could hear like a trumpet blasting every now and again. And as these trumpet sounds would happen, like a fireball would fall out of the sky, and then the trees on the island that we could see from the opening of the cave, the trees like set on fire, and the water turned to blood, and we were terrified. And I remember in the dream, I was like hugging each of them and I was crying. But I knew in my heart, even though what I was witnessing, I knew in my heart that I was going to be with the Lord in heaven. Like I knew that I wasn't condemned to hell. As I was hugging them, I was telling them, I'll see you when we're with Jesus. But in real life, I was like I guess I was tossing and turning and making noise, and E woke me up and she was like, "What's wrong? Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I had the most intense dream ever," because the dream seemed so real. And um, I told her the dream. She was kind of a little bit freaked out. Like I said in my testimony, her mother was a minister in the Assemblies of God church, so she had some background in Christianity, and so she probably did have some idea, but I really didn't have any idea really much of what the dream could mean at the time. Um, I wasn't completely ignorant of Christianity, but I just wasn't sure what God was trying to convey to me. And later that day, I called my one friend who I knew was a Christian, and I told him, but he was like, "Oh, wow, I didn't know." But later he told me, like, "When you told me you had that dream, I just felt like God's love for you." And this was years before I got born again, years before I gave my life to Jesus. But after I gave my life to the Lord, I knew then that God was showing me that I was going to be with him. Because in the dream, even though it was like the end of the age and all hell was breaking loose, in my heart, I was like hugging those girls and I was telling them, like, "I'll see you in heaven." Now, I don't know if they're going to go to heaven, but in my heart, in the dream, like, I knew I was going to heaven with the Lord, not like a false heaven, not like my false belief system of heaven at that time, like the real deal. I knew I was going to be with Jesus. Um, I had some understanding of that dream that I had because when I was a wee little girl, my mom, man, my mom, she used to read me and my brother bedtime stories from the book of Revelation. I know it sounds terrible, but she did. She used to read us the Bible, book of Revelations before bed. I don't know why she would do that. She didn't do it all the time, but she did it several times. But my mom was young and she was a jokester and a prankster, and She used to, I guess, think that that was a good, suitable book for us. But you know what? God didn't let that go to waste, because later, when I did dream that dream, I knew that the scene I was seeing was from that book. And so, anyway, I just wanted to share that if you are someone who is like seeking the Lord and you're battling with homosexuality, um, you don't have to go and cleanse yourself, and you don't have to um, think that you cannot come to God as you are. I mean, God is coming to you as you are. Whilst we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. While we were in our sin, He came and He called us. While the disciples were in their sin and disbelief and just working their daily lives and just going on about their business, they were nothing holy. They were nothing special in and of themselves. They were just men, and God Himself went to them individually and called them. And the women too, Mary of Magdalene, um, all the other women that followed the Lord. He individually went to them, just like He still does today. Each and every one of us who get born again, we're getting born again because the Lord God Almighty Himself came to us and He called us. So if you are someone who is struggling with homosexuality and you just feel like you cannot fully walk with God because you have that struggle, that's a lie from hell, and that is Satan trying to hinder you. Um, you cannot continue to practice that, but it doesn't mean that you cannot walk out your salvation with the Lord in fear and trembling. It doesn't mean that you cannot go to the Lord. He died for you. He did not die for the righteous. He died for sinners who need Him. Um, there is nothing in and of ourselves that we can do to cleanse ourselves. There is nothing we can do in and of ourselves to purify ourselves. There is nothing we can do other than surrender our lives to the Lord, regardless of what our sin is. Homosexuality, maybe we sleep around, maybe we date around, maybe we're gluttons, maybe we're gamblers, maybe we're drunkards. Nothing, nothing, nothing. There is no sin other than blaspheming the Holy Spirit. But other than that, there's nothing, nothing that can keep us from God. There's nothing that God can not take from you. There's nothing that you can do that will turn God away from you. I mean, He poured His wrath out on His Son, and it pleased Him to do that so that He could save you. Like, I don't think we grasp the depth of that. But our God is a loving God. He's not like condemning you. He's not saying hate speech at you like the Westboro Baptist Church, and they hold those signs that say God hates, a derogatory slur. That's not God. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. For God so loved the homosexual that He gave Himself for them. That if they would turn from their wicked ways, if they would reach out to the Lord, if they would put their faith in the Lord, He would save them. He will save you. He will save you. Stop listening to the lies that you are born this way and that you just have to endure and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to endure that. You don't have to endure it. You can be completely 100% free. I did nothing to be free other than surrender it and lean on the Lord. And one day He just done it. He just done it. If you go back in the other testimony, of overcoming homosexuality. I get into how I was completely delivered of that. And while I was making that video, I replayed it and I'm like, oh, I need to edit this part because I feel like I didn't go in depth enough because I felt like that part was too important to rush over and to not spend some time on. So I edited that portion. But when I edited it, a little bit got edited off, like trimmed off. So um, I just want to say that in that video, like part of the story that my friend told me, the story that helped me get free from homosexuality, when she first told it, it offended me so bad that, like, while she was talking to me, I just closed down. I was just like, I'm just over this. I can't believe she's saying this. I don't even want to hear it anymore. This is crazy. But the whole night that story just kept replaying in my mind, and it was bothering me. It was haunting me. It was getting at, like, it was getting like me tossing and turning. It was keeping me from sleeping because I was so disturbed by my friend telling me this story. I was like, how could she even say that? So, yeah, then the next day I reiterated it to my other friend. And as I was telling it, while I was still in offense, God used it in my heart. It like became like, as I was telling her, it's like the Spirit of the Lord just, I don't know how to describe it other than the Spirit of the Lord just kind of fell on us, you know? Um, and it kind of went into our hearts. Not kind of, it did go into our hearts, the story, and then we got it, and we were just weeping together on the phone, and I got free. Like, it set me free in my mind. And once I got that in my mind, like once I saw it in my spirit and I understood it in my spirit, something snapped. And when I felt it, and then I like saw it, like I felt it lift off of me, and then I saw it like go out of the room and out of the house. It was like a black shadow. All that to say, I just want to encourage whoever you are, no matter what sin you are struggling with. God loves you, and He can and He will deliver you. You just gotta give it to Him. Doesn't mean that you won't be tempted. It doesn't mean that you won't be tried. It doesn't mean that Satan is just gonna let you go. No, it's gonna be a struggle. It's gonna be a fight. But I promise you, if you cling to your Abba Father, He will deliver you. You cannot just give up anytime you have a temptation. You cannot just give in anytime you have a desire. You gotta deny those things. You know, it's like, you're gonna feed your spirit or you're gonna feed your flesh. Continue to feed your spirit, because if you deny your flesh, it will die. It will die. It will die. And if you deny any type of demonic oppression, it will flee also. The Bible says, resist the devil and he will flee from you. So please just be encouraged that God loves you, and don't give up. Don't give up on Him. Don't give up believing in Him, because He will never give up on you. He will never ever give up on you. As long as you desire God from your heart, He will always be there for you. He's always there waiting for you to turn to Him. So, my brothers, my sisters, be blessed, be encouraged, be of good cheer, for our God is able to deliver us from any situation, from any sin, from any stronghold. He loves you. God bless you, brothers and sisters.